欢迎那个中国媒体开始先提问，有问题的请举手。
这个问题想问一下教练，你觉得你们队伍今天的表现，发挥了你们几分的实力？
Hello, this question is for the coach Grabs. How much percentage of your true power did you guys think you used in today's series?
While I think that we... Is it on? Is it fine? Okay. While I think that we played bad, I think it's unfair to say that that's the reason why we lost. I think Perkz is a really good team, so even if we played better, might have been rough. Also, I think if you lose 3-0, there's always a blame on the coach and stuff, especially me. So I think today I just felt my team, and so even if they played better, it would be hard. But yeah, I think it was very clear to see that we did not play to our best. But again, some might have XPX not done either. So we're not going to look at the series and say what could have been. We lost 3-0, it happened, and we're going to hold our heads high for next year.
我觉得我们今天居然就是承受了一个0-3的失败，那我们是不可能说自己打的要比 FPX 还要更好的。我在这里觉得说，如果是战队这样子这样子败北的话，那教练肯定是要承担很多责任的。那我也觉得我今天对我的战队来讲的话，我也是失败了这样子。那作为一个评价的话，我们很难说就是今天可能发挥的没有到极致，但是同时 FPX 也不一定有可能会发挥到极致。那最后我们还是输了，但是明年的话，我们还是会抬头挺胸的来迎接下一个赛季。
这里是腾讯体育，也是有问题想要提问教练。就是赛前采访的时候有说 Perkz 身体有些不舒服，然后想问一下，这个对今天的比赛有影响吗？
This question is also for the coach Grabs. Before the games, it was mentioned that Perkz was not feeling so well. Did you think it had an effect on today's games?
Not really. Again, FPX was just the better team today and probably over the entire year. So we're not going to blame it on a little sickness, and even then on stage with the adrenaline and coffee and or Red Bull and everything you have in your body, I don't think he was impacted. And we're not going to start talking about that. FPX was just better, and that's how it was today.
我觉得并没有影响。今天 FPX 确实是打得比较好，我们并不会把这个问题把责任担给是生病啊，而且特别他在场上的时候，有很多的肾上腺素啊，也有喝很多咖啡啊，所以应该是不至于导致有影响他的身体哦。那 FPX 今天玩的确实比较好。
好，我们中文媒体还有提问的吗？好，没有我们的就换英文媒体。
예. 오늘 아쉽게 패배했는데 사실 이전 준결승에서는 SK텔레콤을 상대로 정말 좋은 경기력을 보였거든요. 그때는 우승을 있을 거라 생각을 했는데 오늘 경기에서는 또 반대로 0-3으로 아쉽게 패배를 했는데 두 경기 사이에서 좀 어떤 아쉬움이 있어서 오늘 패배한 거라고 생각하시나요?
누구에게 질문하시는 건가요? 선수들이요? So any player who wants to answer? So you won pretty dominantly against SKT with a 3-1, so people would think you were going to win today, but unfortunately you lost 3-0. So what went differently? Any player?
Well, hello. First of all, I think the Chinese teams in general were just better than the Korean teams this year. I mean, we saw it with IG winning against Griffin. And I think just like in general, they had like a similar style to what we did. And I think also throughout the tournament, I think we didn't really progress a lot. I think in the last couple of weeks, probably like the last week, I think we kind of folded a bit and our play was not as like sharp and crisp as all the other start weeks. So I think we just like performed worse throughout the tournament, and they had a really high level to begin with, and we just couldn't keep up with them.
우선 전체적으로 봤을 때 중국 팀들이 한국보다 올해는 정말 잘하는 것 같아요. 그래서 우리가 이번 롤드컵을 보면은 그리핀 상대로도 이겼고, 그리고 전반적으로 봤을 때 중국 팀은 계속 이제 4주 동안 경기를 하면서 점점 좋은 모습을 보여줬는데 저희 같은 경우는 좀 더 못해진 것도 있는 것 같아요. 뭐 크리스프트 선수도 봤을 때 정말 좋은 모습 보여줬고, 그냥 중국 팀들이 더 되게 잘한 것 같습니다. Right now? Est-ce qu'il y a des médias français qui voudraient poser une question? Oui, je crois qu'il n'y a plus de questions de coréen, donc on va passer au français tout de suite. Donc si...
Okay. We will move on to the English portion.
Pas de questions? On passe à l'anglais tout de suite?
Okay.
We have a question here in French.
Where?
No, he was just asking why Perkz isn't here.
I mean, Perkz just didn't feel too well, and we don't want to force anybody to come to a press conference. And after a loss like this, it's natural for a player to want to be with his family. So we didn't just want to put him in a spot where he's uncomfortable. That's it.
We will now move on to the English portion of the press conference. Does any of the English-speaking media have questions?
Hello.
There he is.
Hello. Hello. Is this working? Hello. Hello. We are from DR, and we talked to a lot of Danes yesterday. They were really looking forward to seeing you guys, Caps, and wonder what does it do to you that so many Danes support you?
I mean, I think we are both really happy with the support we've gotten. I mean, not just from Danes, but from all the crowds. They were cheering for us when we were losing, when we were winning. The support we've gotten is really crazy, and obviously it's disappointing to let everyone down with this final. It's also disappointing to us, and we just will try our best to recharge in the off-season and come back with a better show next year.
Hi, this is Darius from the Shot Caller. My question is also directed towards Caps. Of course, the ending is unfortunate to the year, but reflecting on it, on the entire year so far, would you still argue that EU has overall improved, and in the future we can see not just G2 but also other teams do well at Worlds, with Splice making quarterfinals, Fnatic as well?
I mean, it's hard to say when there's like so few international tournaments. It's like hard to say, but I definitely think that we're a really strong team. I think Europe is a really strong region, and I think with time we will only get stronger. So I'm sure we can bounce back next year. Yeah, I think we just need to work on a few more things, and then we'll be there.
1, 2, hello? This is working? Okay. This is Tyler from ESPN. This is for grabs. In the first game, you guys went with Pyke mid versus Nautilus mid. Was that a counter pick towards Doinby's Nautilus? Was that your decision? Was that a Cap's decision? Was it a joint decision? Can you talk a little bit about that pick?
Go ahead if you want. No, I mean, of course we don't randomly pick something on stage, right? So it's something we talked about beforehand. FPX in general has a clear, defined playstyle, and we thought of Pyke mid. You can match the roams at some point. I think we kind of underestimated how much pressure he actually has from mid, and also how they use the jungler in those situations. So it was hard for Pyke to actually face check. So from the once or twice we actually tried this, it looked better. Even then, that game though was winnable afterwards. And yeah, I think no matter what you pick there, they get their style through with Nautilus mid. It was just about trying to match it in somehow, or outscale it. We went for matching. Didn't work out, but yeah.
Hey guys, this is Ashley Kang for Horizon and ESPN. I have a question for Yankos. It was a 3-0 result, and what was the conversation between the team members and the team atmosphere like between the games, especially between game 2 and 3?
I think that the team atmosphere was really good. We were still making a lot of jokes and laughing, even though we were getting smacked. And it didn't really feel like we changed much, you know. It didn't really feel like we started like choking or like being scared of them or changing our drafts or changing our priorities. We still had a plan in mind that we followed, and even though it didn't work out, I was really happy with how we behaved as a team and how we played throughout this year.
Hi guys, it's Sue from Sky Sports. This question is for Carlos. Could you just talk a bit about what you make of your team's achievements this year despite not winning Worlds? And also, you've said that the goal is to always win Worlds. What needs to change and what will you do to make sure that you do win Worlds next year?
So, hello. Oh, yeah. So of course, ever since the team was put together, and I got asked this question probably hundreds of times. You know, what's the goal? It's always been win Worlds. And you ask me right now, and I say the goal is winning Worlds. You know, and this is the closest we've ever been. And it's true. It feels very bad to fall in the final. Whether it's 2-3 or 0-3, it really doesn't matter. The goal is still to win Worlds. I believe we have the right team to accomplish that. I think that a couple of things that we as an organization also have to learn. Things like Worlds is very long. How do we make sure that as the weeks progress, we don't lose energy or whatever. I think we as an organization could have done better, and I take responsibility in that regard. Everybody literally did their best, and with competition in general, there's always tomorrow, whether you win or lose. So now we lose, right? But tomorrow there's another tournament, tomorrow as in January, right? And everybody will be ready for that, and when we win that day, we'll be happy, and so that's the beauty of competition. So whether we will use this to progress and hopefully get better as an organization, coaching staff, and team, and hopefully it'll be fine.
Hi, I'm Eric from Mais Sports Brazil. I have a question for Caps. You said in the press conference before the Worlds final that you need to keep Doing B in the mid lane, and you can't let Doing B roaming for the map in the map. But Doing B, we saw Doing B like roaming for the entire map in the 3 games. What do you think you guys made wrong that just let Doing B free for the entire series?
Yeah, I mean, there's like a lot of reasons like what went wrong, right? And I mean, it's what we're gonna look at, like I'm gonna look at in the off season. It's what I'm gonna look at next time we go up against FPX if we do, or what other teams. But I think at the end of the day, I tried my best to hold him, but obviously it was not working. That's why he got to roam a lot and obviously took over the game. So the plan failed, and hopefully it will work next time.
All right, here. I have a question. I'm here, Carlos. I'm here. And I have a question for you. So, Carlos, Jędrzej from TVP Sport. So, obviously, you've managed to pull out a great team as an individually and as a team, but you also managed to pull a great image that the whole Europe really loved and stand by. How do you create such a great PR for a team, and what's the key to uniting Europe, basically?
Well, first of all, in terms of putting the team together, I finally sort of signed a contract, but ultimately this is a joint decision. It's not my decision. It's everybody's input, and at the end, a team like this comes together. So it's a sort of joint effort with other people. In regards to the branding, it is true that we like to have. God damn it! It is true that we like to. It is true. What a beautiful day! It is true that we like to have fun, and having fun feels better when you win. But we are gracious enough to make fun of ourselves when things don't go right. As this, he didn't make it on purpose, but it could have very well been like that. And so that's pretty much our brand. Easygoing. You like to have fun, competitive, and hopefully when people look back in 2019 and G2 in general, they say we're proud of the players, we're proud of the support staff, we're proud of the organization, and they make us laugh. That's the goal, and hopefully we accomplish it.
I'm from the Washington Post. Caps, this is a question for you. Your dad has been such a visible supporter of yours throughout your career. Have you talked to him, and what did he say to you?
I did not get to talk with my dad yet. I have my family around, and I'm probably gonna go straight to the hostel with them and just, well, not celebrate, but be with them and look over the year ahead, and just recharge, because obviously we've been to MSI, we've been to the final of Worlds, so I just need some time now to get ready for the next season, because I don't feel like, I just need some time. So I'll probably just be with my family and see.
Hi, here. Ocelote for Twin Projects. I want to know, what do you think that was the key for G2 success along these years? En Spanish, ¿cuál crees que es la clave de G2 a lo largo de todos estos años?
I feel like the key is a combination of having, of course, really good players, having a support staff, Grabs, Daffman, Mitch have done an incredible job at sort of understanding what how to make the best out of the team. That competitively speaking, and also when you have a really good sort of mood, and I've had a total of maybe 350 players in G2 in the last 6 years. And I've never seen any team with this kind of spirit, team spirit. It's impossible to find. It's just like by far the best. Like between, if you hear the voice comms in game 2 and after game 2, it's actually, you're like, okay, this team, if there is a team that could have maybe come back from that catastrophic, series, that this would have been the one, And that is, I think, a combination of, having great players, great support staff, and having a great chemistry within themselves and making a lot of jokes and trying to have fun all the time. At the end of the day, this is a game. It's an important game. All our lives depend on this game, but it is a game after all.
Hi, this question is directed towards Grabs. The off-season, of course, is going to start very soon now, and I've been talking with teams already. A lot of teams are considering now, instead of bootcamping in Korea, they're bootcamping in China. Also, of course, because of the success. Is that something the team has considered, and what are your overall thoughts on that in general?
We literally ended the season 1 hour ago, so I think nobody of us actually thinks about bootcamping. We're going to go home 2 weeks with our families, and then we can talk about it. Might be a good option. I think, in hindsight, of course, boot camping in Europe and staying here was a mistake. That was not me, by the way. That really was not me. Just saying. So yeah, I think the boot camp situation, we should have went to Asia, just because the teams are just way better. We played against third seeds from weaker regions to boot camp, while they had Damwon, Griffin, SKT, IG, RNG, and FPX. So I think that's something we'll learn for sure. But if we go to China to bootcamp, I'm not sure, because again, as Cap said, the season was really long. So I'm not going to burden the guys just have a headset and spring split.
Hi. Hello? Okay, hi. Fernando from Esports Brazil. This question is to Jankos. You played against TM right now, who was elected MVP of the tournament, and the round before you played Clid. How do you feel that the matchups compare against those two players, and how do you feel that was easier or harder in the final?
Well, I mean, I think both Clid and Tian are very talented and skilled, and both are like kind of young, I guess, so they have, their whole careers ahead of themselves. And I think that against SKT, early games were a little bit easier since they wouldn't invade as much, and it was more standard. So I would say that it was harder to read Klid's movements around the map, because, I mean, obviously, if the early games goes different and he can choose which path to start and which lane to path to, he can have like a lot of ideas on how to play the game. And then with Tian, I think he's obviously really good as well, but a lot of the game started with us getting invaded on level 1, and even though we knew what would they do around the map, we couldn't really prevent it, because we basically had to choose who to put behind, either me, Wunder, or Perkz. And one game we chose me, one game we chose Wunder, one game we chose Perkz, and yeah, each game was really difficult. So I think that we as G2 should look at those games, and for next year, just probably step up our level 1s and our early games overall, because I feel like that we are a really strong team after like 10-15 minutes, but sometimes we fall too far behind in the early games.
Hi, it's Sue again from Sky Sports. This question's for Mickey. You've had a massive year. You moved to a new team. You've won domestically, internationally, and you've also overcome a wrist injury. Despite not winning Worlds, I just wanted to see what you make of your year and what was your highlight.
So yeah, thanks for the question. And overall, I would say I'm pretty happy with the year, especially because, well, the past 3 years were not very successful. So even though losing the final was like the end goal, so it's still kind of a failure, but I'm still pretty happy with the year overall because we won basically everything else. I guess it just feels bad today, but in a few days I'll probably look back at the year and be, I guess, happy and hopefully go even further next year and try to win the whole thing.
We have time for one more question. Okay, this will conclude the G2 World Championship press conference. If we can get you guys to stand for photos.
Predictions for the split. You want to know my predictions? I predict nothing. Because I don't know what's going to happen. I'm not a future teller. Do you think I'm a future teller? Do you think I am a soothsayer? The seer of sooths? Everyone thinks that Team Liquid's just going to win again. Is that what you think's going to happen? It's live.
All right.
What are you doing?
Nothing.
Get out of here. Get out of here. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. Get out of here. Ruined my work. Ruined. Absolutely ruined. Absolutely ruined.